Welcome back. My name is Paulaj Biswas, Assistant Professor, JS College of Engineering, Department of Mechanical Engineering. And today discuss, according to this, the computer animation. This is the subject of computer aided design and also my lecture number 23. And computer animations. And the computer animation is the process used for digitally generating animated image. That means your image can be animated. That is the movement is the any directions is here will be counts that like your the animated image. The more general terms computer generated imagery, that is the CGI, encompasses both static scenes and dynamics image is considered, while the computer animations only refers to moving image. That like your the computer animation, this will be counts that like your the refers to moving image. And another things is here that like your the modern computer animations usually uses a 3D computer graphics to generate a two-dimensional picture is comes is here. That means your the 3D computer graphics to this the generated to a two-dimensional pictures. Although the 2D computer graphics are still used for the stylistics is here, low bandwidth is comes, and the faster real time rendering is considering according to your the computer animations. Sometimes the target of the animation is the computer itself, but sometimes film as well as is considered. Computer animation is essentially a digital successor to stop motion technique is considered, but using the 3D models, scans and traditional animations techniques using the frame by frame animations of 2D illustrations is considered according to your the computer animations. You can see this is an example of your a computer animations which is produced from the motion capture techniques is considered. That is the first will be given the this is a figure and also the object is considered. According to your the second on also you have to movements will be considered, but third one is the not. You can see this is the object, but like your the animated versions will be seen here. You can see, and also the forearm will be movement to this the another way. The computer generated animations are more controllable than others. The more physically based processes comes like a constructing miniature for effect shots will be here, or hearing extras for crowds sense will be comes here. That like your the because it allows the creations of image that would not be feasible using any other technology is comes. This will be considered according to your the movement of your the computer animations. It can also allows a uh, signal graphics artists to produce such content without the use of actors, and the expensive the that like your the artist to produce such content without the use of actors. And another things is here, the expensive set pieces of props will be considered. That like or the different films we can see the fully animated versions will be considered. That like your sort of him, and as well as your you can see that like your the Balganes. This will be considered according to your the animations versions, and also or the different type of cartoons will be considered as this. And the expensive seed pieces of or props to create the illusions of movement and image is displayed on the computer monitors and are repeatedly replaced by a new image that is the similar to it but advanced slightly in time, usually at a rate of 224, 25 or 30 frames or per second will be considered. This technique is identical to how the illusions of movement is achieved with the televisions and motion pictures will become. For the 3D animations of objects is considered, The models are built on the computer monitors, that like your the models is here, and the 3D figures are rigged with a virtual skeleton is comes here. You can see the for 2D figures, the animations and separate object, that like your the illustrations is comes, and the separate transparent layers are used with or without that virtual skeleton. And another things, then the lips, eyes, mouth, clothes, etc. will be comes from the animations of the figure are moved by the animator on the keyframe. That means your the different object also will be movement according to your the animation. That is your the keyframes. Similarly, this is the limb, eye, mouth, clothes, etc. Also the figure are moved by the animator on the keyframes. Another things, the differences in appearance between the keyframes are automatically calculated by the computer in a process known as twinning or morphing is comes here. Finally, the animation is rendered for the 3D animations, that like your the all frames must be rendered after the modeling is completed. That means your the rendering is completed during to your the modeling is completed. You can see for 2D vector animations is comes, the rendering process is the keyframe is considered, that like your the rendering process is the keyframe, the illustrations process is considered, while the twin frames are rendered as needed for pre-recorded presentations, that like your the pre-recorded presentations is given here, as the rendered frames are transferred to a different format or medium, like the digital video is comes here, that likes the you can see the few re-recording presentations also will be considered according to this the different formats or the medium, and this is the like digital video is comes. The frames may also be rendered in real time as they are presented to the end user audience is comes, that like your the end user, this is the audience is comes during to this the use of these frames. The low bandwidth animations that transmitted via the internet will be considered, that is the low bandwidth, and just like your the animations transmitted via the internet, that is the Adobe Flash is comes, that is the X3D often use software on the end user is comes here, the computer to render in real time as an alternative to streaming or preloading high bandwidth animations is comes, that like your the high bandwidth animations, this will be properly maintained, animations procedures will be done during to this the rendering procedure, these systems. The explanations will be comes here to trick the eye and the brain into the thinking they are seeing a smoothly moving object. The picture should be drawn at around 12 frames per second or faster will be considered according to your the explanation. That means your the smoothly moving this object, the picture should be drawn at around the 12 frames per second or faster will be considered. Another thing is that with rates above 75 to 120 frames per second, 75 to 120 frames per second, no improvement in realism or the smoothness is perceivable due to the way the eye and the brain both process images is comes, that like your the eye as like as your the brain is the processes a image at rates below 12 frames per second. Most people can detect, that means your the people can detect your the 12 frames per second, and also the jerkiness associated with the drawing of new images, that like your the drawing of new images that detracts from the illusions of realistic movements is comes during to this, that like your the 12 frames per seconds will be seen this the all peoples, as like your the new images that this tracks from the illusions of the realistic movement is considered. Conventional hand conventional hand drawn cartoons animations often uses to this the 15 frames per second in order to save on the number of drawing needs, that likes your the any type of animation or like your the cartoon is comes from your the 15 frames per second. That is the but this is usually accepted because of the stylist nature of cartoons. That means the different cartoons is the given that like you are the stylist. And another thing is the to produce the more realistic image, and another thing is the computer animations depends and also the demands higher frame rates. That means your the computer animations is comes in the different type of movies, that like your the different is the films is here, and this will be considered according to the high demands, and also the higher frame rates will be comes. The film seen in theaters in the United States run at 24 frames per second. That like your the higher versions will be considered according to your the United States film sessions, and which is sufficient to create the illusions of continuous continuous movements will be considered. That like your the this will be the sufficient continuous movements will be comes here. Suppose your the different type of cartoons will be seen, that means your the slow movements, and another will be found to your the high speed movements will be found. For high resolutions is considered according to your the adapter are used, that is the different adapter is used, that like your the transmissions of this for the high resolutions. And early digital computer animations was developed at Bell Telephone Laboratories in the 1960s by Edward E. Zazik, uh, Frank W. Sinden, and also the Kenneth C. No, Kenneth Knowlton and A. Michael Knoll here. The other digital animation was also practiced at the Lawrence Livermore National Laboratory. And another things in 1967, a computer animation named the Human Humanic Birds was created by Charles Sarsu and James Safar. In 1968, a computer animation called Kitty was created with BSM4 by Nikolai the Konstantinev, and the dispensing a cat moving around his hair. In 1971, a computer animation called the metadata was created showing the various shapes it comes. An early steps in the history of computer animation was sequel to the 1973 film The Westworld, a science fiction film about a society in which the robot live and the work among humans. That like you're the like a humans, and also this will be considered according to this the robots. We can see the sequel Father Odds 1976 used in the 3D wireframe imagery, which features a computer animated hand and face, both created by University of Oath graduate Edwin Catmull and Fred Parekh. This imaginary originally appeared in their student film A Computer Animated Hand, which they completed in 1972. Development in CGI technologies are reported each year at SIG GRA Graph, an annual conference on computer graphics and interactive techniques that is attended by thousands of computer professionals each year, and developers of computer game and the 3D video cards strive to achieve the same visual quality on personal computer in real time as is possible for CGI films and animations. With the rapid advancements of real-time rendering quality, artists began to use game engines to render non-interactive movies, which led to the art from the machinima. The very first full-length computer animations is here. That like your the animated television series was reboot, which the debuted in September 1994. The series the 1994 the series followed the adventures of characters who lived inside a computer. You can see a figure is the here. This is the 3D game characters is here. That like you are the animated using the uh, skeletal animations is comes here. That like you are the this type of animations is the first features-length computer animated film was Toy Story, that like your the 1995, which was made by Pixar. It followed an adventure centered around toys and their owners. This groundbreaking film was also the first of many fully computer animated movies. This comes here. Animation method in most 3D computer animation system, and basically the 3D animation system is comes that like your the 3D picture you have to given the fully animated, and also there is the fully movement of this the 3D body. Not will be the striking is here, the not will be the one parts will be the animated, and this like your the suppose your the human beings is considered according to your the full body, that is the hand, legs, mouse, the all things also will be movement according to your the animated methods. And another things your the different type of car, that like your the different movies we can see, the one parts is the fully animated, so you can see that like your the different type of cinema we can concentrate according to given of the full animations of this, and another parts also will be the not fully animated, the one parts also will be animated, another part will be considered is the fixation parts is comes here. In most 3D computer animation system, an animator creates a simplified representations of character anatomy is here, that will be comes here, that is the simplify and also the representations of a characters, and also given some the anatomy which is analogous, which is comes here during toward the analogous to this the skeleton or the strike figures will become, that like your the one is considered according to your the striking them, and the another is considered according to your the skeletons will be considered. Suppose we can see in our the different cartoon, and that like your the baby, and then there the different picture will be movement, and also there is the some heat will be there on this the object, but there is the no damage on this object is here, but this will be fully compressed, and again after few times later you have to remove your loads, that like your the force will be removing is here, then your object is the again the this will be the previous condition, there is the no breaking will be come here, there is the no damage will be considered according to this type of 3D or this your the animations will be comes. Suppose this is the strike figure will be comes, they are arranged into a default position known as a bend pose will be here, or the T pose. The bend pose or the T pose is considered according to this type of concentrations. The position of each segment of the skeletal model is defined by animation variables will be comes here. That is the different types of variables is used, just like your the animations times, the which type of variable is used. Suppose your the hand, and also the array types of variables is given, that like your the animations variables, or the avars or for source, and this will be given for your the source. In human and animal characters, many parts of the skeletal model corresponding to the actual bones is required. That means your the suppose your hand will be movements. Suppose you're the a robots, the you can see the similarly to your the hands, that is the arm is considered according to this the robot, then this will be required for your this the movement, and just like your the human beings, and then during to this on the skeletal model corresponding to this the actual bones like say movement is found during to this picture. But the skeletal animations is also used to animate other things will be here, that like your the other things, your the eyes also will be seen when you have to movement will be, that like your the forward directions, and also the different degree of freedoms will be comes when you have to given to this the animates other things will be considered. With the facial features, sometimes we can see that like your the facial features through the other method, or the facial animations is exist during to this the systems is come. You can see the character, and also the Woody in Toy Story. For this the example you ask uses that like your the 700 awards, and that is the 100 in the face alone, and during to this the 100 is considered according to this the face alone. The computer doesn't usually render, that like your computer does not render again, that is your the different face locks will be here. The skeletal model directly is it is invisible, that like is the invisible, but it does use the skeletal model to compute the exact positions and orientations of that certain characters is counts, that like your the which one is the exact positions will be considered, and then the which one will be orientations of that certain characters, which is eventually renders into an image is considered easier, that like your the rendering is the one image, and thus by changing the value of awards over time, and basically this will be given to this your the value, that means your the over time, that means your animation will be stay on this the over time, and you have to in a few cases suppose our computer graphics will be given, suppose your the presentations will be prepared, then you have to given some this animations of your PowerPoint presentation, then you have to given some time is set up the which will be which time is used in your presentation, that means your the 5 or 6 seconds will be considered according to your the this time setups, you have to movement of this, and again during to these times your the animation is the considered according to this the hours over times. The any animators creates the motions by making the characters move from frame to frame, that like this will be goes to your the frame to frame. There are several methods for generating the awards values to obtain realistic motions will become, that like your the you obtain during your the realistic motions, or the virtual motions will become, that like you are given to your the realistic motion, that means your motions will be found during to your the real. The traditionally animators the manipulate the awards directly, that means your the traditional manipulators he will be given to your the manipulates, that like your the awards will be creating to your the directly, that means that is the direct motions will be considered according to your the system. Then suppose your the human as like a human beings, this is the pulley movements, and also the pull animators will be given, and that like your the directly, and rather then set awards for every frame, that like your the each and every frame you have to given some awards, that means the suppose your animations will be given, that like your the PowerPoint presentation, then you have to given to your the each and every lines the one by one, that means your the animation, but you have to given your the full page, the or the full slides will be given to your the animation, that means that this will be considered the your strategic points frames in the time, and our strategic points frames in the time, and let the computer interpolates or twin between them in a process is comes, that like your the called k framings, that means you have to consider according to your the k framing. The k framing puts the control in the hands of the animator. That means your the keyframing, this will be putting your the considered by your the animator, which will be given to this your the keyframe, and has roots in hand. That means your the drawn traditional animations also. That means your the traditional animation, and also this will be given to your the movements properly. In contrast, a newer method called the motion capture makes uses of live action footage will be here. You have to given that like your the different contrast will become, that like your the image will be properly maintained here, and also the motions captures makes is here. That is the considered according to this the live actions footage according to your lives. When the computer animations is the driven by motions captures, a real performer acts out the sense as if they were the character to be animated is comes. That means you have to given your the performance of your actors and the full sense, and also the characters to be animated properly. And again, the his or her mother, her motion is recorded to a computer using video. That means you are the, that like you are the different face lock programmer is used, and also the different animations will become that seen, that like you are the people in the one picture to convert it to this the animation, and also this will be similar type the Michael Jackson's video will be shown. That is the his or her motion is recorded to a computer using video cameras and markers, and that performance is then applied to the animated characteristics here. Each method has its the advantage, and as of 2007, games and films are using either or both of these methods in productions is comes here. That means your the keyframes animations can produce motions that would be difficult or impossible to act out. That means your the animation can be produce motions, and this will be difficulties and would be difficult, that like your the impossible to act and the out. That means your the while motions capture can reproduce. That means your the capture, that is the can the reproduce, and the subtitles of a particular actors is considered according to your the capture. During to this, for the example, in the 2006 film Pirates of the Caribbean is the dead man's chest beats will be considered. The Nai provided the performance for the character Debbie Jones. The even though Nye doesn't appear in the movie himself, that means that this person is the not appearing on this movie, but he will be acted on them. The movies himself, the movies benefited from his performance by recording the nuisance of his body language. That means your this the body language. Another things you considered according to your the poster and the facial expressions that is comes during to your the animations. And another things the motions capture is appropriate in situations. That means you are the appropriate in the situations where the believable, that means the realistic behavior and action is required, but the types of characters required exceed what can be done throughout the conventional cos costumings will be here during to this here. That means the a dead persons but notes will be present this the fully here, and also the converted to your the animated here, and also this the capture appropriate situation, and this is the conventional costuming is considered. Thank you students. Next class is discussed the modeling.